In November, I attended the week-long event in Brighton, and I was blessed to be a healie and receive a healing, and it changed my life. I'm a different person, and I've wanted to make a testimonial since then, which is now 6 months ago, and I've avoided it and didn't really understand why. I think part of it was an old program that I was running, where I used to downplay things and go, well, it wasn't such a big thing for me, so why would anybody be interested in hearing about my healing? But then I realized that so many people's stories inspired me to do the work, and so maybe my story can inspire somebody else. And then the other day I was doing a walking meditation, and I realized that there was part of me that was still scared that if I shared the healing, that maybe it would come back, and I would have all the pain that I had before. And it was just a fear that I became aware of. And so I'm ready to share my story, and hopefully it'll inspire somebody. I had major back pain going into the week-long event. In 2012, I ruptured a disc in my spine, L4, L5, and had quite severe pain for a couple of months. As a result, I would lie down as much as possible and became very weak. The pain eventually became manageable, but it never went away completely, and my spine just got weaker, my posture wasn't great, but it was manageable. In 2014, I fractured my back in 2 places on a speedboat, T11 and T12, and damaged all the facet joints in the bottom of my back, aggravated the discs, and I was in agony for many months. One neurosurgeon wanted to do surgery. I went for a second opinion, and the second neurosurgeon recommended that I try and persevere. Gave me really strong medication that helped the pain, but the medication made me fall asleep really early at night and wake up tired and depressed, so I stopped taking it. And I did everything I could to try and manage the pain. I worked a lot on my emotions and mindset. I knew that somehow I could fix it, but no matter what I did, nothing really worked in 3D. I was going to either a physio, a biokineticist, or a chiropractor almost every single day to manage the pain. I was taking lots of painkillers. I tried CBD, cannabis. It all helped to ease the pain, but nothing took it away. And so I lived with that for 4 years, and I got quite depressed, living with that chronic pain. Before that, I had been climbing mountains and traveling and doing adventurous things, and I couldn't do that anymore. And I got tired of my children saying, "Mommy, how's your back?" or me saying, "I'm tired, my back's sore." And then I discovered Dr. Joe's work, and I worked consistently. I did the online course, and I did BOTEC, balancing of the energy centers, almost every day for almost a year. And then I attended the week-long event. And 3 months before I attended the week-long event, on a trip, I fractured my coccyx, and so I couldn't sit without a lot of pain. And I was in a lot of fear of why I was causing all these back injuries, and just really worried. But I also knew that if I worked it, that there was a way to change. So I went to the week-long knowing that I was going to come home different, but also really scared. I couldn't sit. I used to lie down meditating. I couldn't sit. My coccyx was too sore, and my spine was too weak, and my muscles were too weak to sit, or so I thought. And leading up to the event, I had thought about asking for a healing, but when a friend of mine actually suggested that I apply for the healing, I had huge resistance. Part of me didn't feel worthy. I thought there are people that need it more than me. And I had a huge resistance to applying, and a friend of mine said just apply anyway. And so I applied, and I put on the form that I would love a healing. I explained what my injuries were, but I also said if somebody needs it more than me, that they can have it. And I became aware that there was a part of me that didn't feel worthy. But I applied nevertheless. And then the event started, and on the second day I started to feel energy moving in my spine. I knew my spine was rewiring, but I also felt a lot of resistance. And at the end of the second day, Dr. Joe said something earlier that day. He said, those of you that are lying down, you're letting your body win. And that was really hard for me to hear. And I spoke to my team leader, Bhavna, at the end of the day, and I said to her, I'm really sore. I can't sit. My coccyx is really sore. And I don't know what to do, because Dr. Joe said we're letting our body win. But I don't see people with broken feet walking on their broken foot. And I was resisting. And she asked me to close my eyes and ask my heart what my heart thinks. And I did. And I said, just to take it one day at a time, one moment at a time. And she said, we'll do that. And then she said, but I have to tell you, you're still running the program. And that hit me. And I was not very happy about hearing it. But I also knew she was right. And I went back to my room that evening and I cried. I was in a lot of pain. And I was resisting. And then I looked myself in the mirror through all the tears, and I made a decision, because I knew she was right, and I made a decision to let that go and to stop running the program. And I decided that no matter what, I was going to sit through all the meditations, and I wasn't going to let my body win, and that I was going to leave different. And I think that's the real moment the healing began. Every day from then, I sat through the meditations. It got worse before it got better. My body fought. I was in a lot of pain. But every day it started to get better and better. And on the second last day of the event, I found out at lunchtime that I had been chosen for a healing. And I was overwhelmed. And I was already healing. And a part of me nearly said, it's okay, I don't need it, give it to somebody else. And then I realized, why would I do that? Why would I wish for something for over a year, do all the work that I did, set the intention, work on feeling worthy, and choose it, and then when the universe hands me a gift, to say, no, thank you. So as hard as it was for me, I didn't give up the healing and allowed myself to receive completely. And it was an incredible experience, just an overwhelming experience of love. And I couldn't help but give love back to all of the healers that were surrounding me and showering me with love. My heart was so wide open for weeks afterwards. And the energy hasn't stopped. It's months down the line and the energy has not stopped in my body. And I know it's still rewiring my spine, but I'm pain-free. I left the event pain-free. And not only physically have I transformed, but emotionally too. And I'm more in love with life. I'm more in love with me. As a result, I'm more loving and open to people. And I'm incredibly grateful. I do the work every day. I don't always feel like it, but it's so worth it. So I'm incredibly grateful, and I hope that my story will inspire someone like so many others inspired me. I love you all.